Hi, folks. This is Sven here. I have a really special episode because for a little bit, I thought it wasn't going to happen, but I was able to meet up with this guest at Espresso Royale, and I used my phone, so I apologize for the sound quality, but don't let that distract you because what they say is gold. Here is a very special episode with CJ Run.
I grew up always feeling like the weird kid that no one ever understood. And so when I make music as a means to explain myself and as a means to understand myself. And as it's been for the last couple years, I'm making music to understand myself, but in turn I'm giving a voice to other people that feel exactly the same way as I do.
This is Champaign is Also a Band podcast. One songwriter, one song. I'm Sven, your host for a journey into the music of Champaign-Urbana. Recorded in the Blue Box studio with a songwriter from the Champaign-Urbana music scene, past or present. This is Champaign is Also a Band podcast, and today I am with CJ Run, and you may recognize them from their solo project, I guess you could say, solo project, CJ Run, member of Sultra, and they've also played with the band Data Waves. And anyway, CJ, thank you for being on the podcast. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
So I forgot to mention that we are listening to the song Indigo off the single release 747.
I've been getting into that astrology more. Stars say my Venus ain't combating with yours. You've been living on the side, I've been trying to ignore them. When I say goodbye, you wanna say bonjour. You're like, hey baby boy, come here. Got sweet nothings for your ear. I'm so close to self-combustion. Start my car and get in gear. 3 in the morning, VAT, the lift receipt. I'll be out before your door in 20 minutes, guaranteed. Said we're here so we can talk, but we know that's not your speed. Now you're scratching at my back like we're the last of dying breeds. Oh geez, oh me, oh my. Lift your feet up and close your eyes. This is that feeling for all of the night. Oh, it's so hard for me to shake you. I can't imagine life without you, yeah. Oh, how am I gonna be without you? You make it hard for me. It's so hard for me, yeah. If my body was your temple, could you hold the fort? And if my cup is ever empty, would you pour some more? My rivers deep, they flow from Amsterdam to Bangalore. Say what you waiting for. Tell me what you're waiting for. Days when we fight, we usually said that I'm arrogant, pompous, and they so repressed, you're not talking enough. Call up my bluff, back on the wall, now you're pinning me. Oh, what the? I'm giving up, I'm so in love. I'm so enamored by all that you are. You be my Jupiter, Saturn, and stars. You are. You should let me work you out. Put 2 fingers in your mouth, show you how I put it down. Now you, but I do ask of you. If my body was your temple, could you hold the fort? And if my cup is ever empty, would you pour some more? My rivers deep, they flow from Amsterdam to Bangalore. Say what you're waiting for. Tell me what you're waiting for. No more blues, brighter hues. This is Indigo. Make your move, brighter views on my 7-4. Alpha Zulu, Echo Delta, Hotel Indigo. Wanna ride my 7-4, then what you waiting for?
Wonderful. So I guess my first question that I always like to ask everyone is, so did this song start off with, do you have a certain beat going on, or did you, were you playing around on the keyboard, or did something like, what started this song? Was it the lyrics or the music behind it?
So it was really a combination of both. I work with a producer. His name is Allan Xu. He goes by the name Your Beautiful Ruin. And we've produced a lot of music together. He produced the last EP I put out. A lot of my songs are produced by him. And he's usually just always has a beat going. He's always creating something. So I came over to the studio one day, and he was like starting out with the bare bones of this, like with the synth, I think, with the chords that he started with. And I heard it, and I really liked it. And it was late at night. It was like in the summer. We had like some boxed wine and stuff, and we were just like hanging out. And I had already had about 40% of the lyrics like already written for like a different song. And so when I heard this beat, I was like, no, I like this better. Like this fits the mood of what I wrote like a couple months ago. So as he was like making the beat and just like looping it, I was like rapping and singing the lyrics I'd already written to see if it really did work, and it did. And so from there we just developed it, and we finished it all in that night.
So when you're singing that part, was that fit with what they had already written in terms of music, or was that?
Sometimes it's not really necessarily about it fitting or not. Like I'm a very like adaptable artist in the sense that if I've written the lyrics, I can sing them and like vocalize them in any way to fit on any beat. So when I heard that beat, I just kind of tweaked a few of the like just a few key shifts just to make sure that it would work. But yeah,
that's great. So was there? Is there a reason that you started off with, I've been getting into astrology more? Stars say my Venus isn't combating with yours.
Well, yeah, I mean, because the song is about a relationship that isn't... It's one of those relationships that you can't get out of, but you just seem to always be in. And yeah, I mean, over the last year, I have gotten into astrology a lot more. I've like read a lot more about the planets and placements and how different placements affect like our love languages, and the planet Venus is like how and what you love. And so, you know, if your Venus sign isn't compatible with someone else's, that could give you conflicts in like love. So it's like, so that was the point of starting it that way.
Maybe this is bearing the lead, but so is this person still like in your life? And
no.
Okay.
No.
Okay. So what parts were the things that you had originally and then you added to? I'm just curious in terms of
let me see. The parts that I can look at the lyrics. The parts that I already had were 3 in the morning VAT, the lift receipt, that whole bit up until the hook. And then, let's see, in the second verse, the style, as far as the days when we fight, we usually said that like that cadence I already had written down for a different song. So the lyrics are different from what I wrote originally, but the cadence is the same, so I just changed the words. But those are the 2 bits that I already had. And then the rest was just fill in the blank.
What inspired you to have the chorus of the "If my body was your temple, could you hold the fort"? You had mentioned earlier that it was like a relationship that just kind of kept pulling you back, but yeah, my rivers run deep. They go from Amsterdam to Bangalore. So how did you decide on having that be the chorus? Like, it seems like you're recalling back.
The chorus was inspired by basically the idea of as like a queer black person, as a queer black trans person, it's very easy to sexualize me and to idealize me. A lot of people can find themselves attracted to the idea of me, but not actually me. Some people can find themselves like, oh, CJ's really cool, but people won't use my pronouns correctly, or people might be sexually interested in me, but they don't know how to approach that because I'm not the kind of person that they're used to being sexual with. And so it's that whole idea of like, you find me attractive, you want this, you want that, but if we actually did something, like if we actually tried to do something, would you be able to take me as I am? Would you be able to, people, people are, if you're attracted to someone and think, okay, but are you actually going to shoot your shot? Are you actually going to, hold your own and, show me something? If you really are about it, show me something. And it's just someone who is, queer and trans. It's people aren't always about it. People think they're about it. They see you look nice on paper, but then it's like, okay, but are you actually going to be able to, satisfy or be there? And my river is deep. There flow from Amsterdam to Bangalore, so it's just it's easy to objectify me sexually, and it's easy to project and have fixations, but this runs deeper than just a pretty face. I come with layers and I come with complexities, so if I give myself to you, am I actually going to be able to trust you with it? Because this is more than just what you see.
I think I know I've read a few interviews with you where the forgive me if my language isn't correct, because I'm trying, but as there's a plane landing above us. Oh, okay. I guess for me, that makes so much sense in terms of why this is a very important song to you, or your favorite, is being able to, how do you exist in this world? If I'm saying this correctly, how do you exist in this world within, this, I don't know, a new set of rules, and, is that the right question to ask? Because
how do I exist in a world where in a cis hetero society where I am none of those things and everyone around me is, and I have if that's the question. I mean it's taught me that all that glitters is not gold, and that all attention is not good attention. And that I'm not starved for attention. I think that a lot of times, especially when you're a marginalized person, regardless of if it's queer marginalization, people in positions of privilege think that you're going to be jumping at an opportunity to be with them because they think that you can't get any better. So being trans, if a cis person is attracted to me, they might be surprised if I turn them down, because they'll be like, oh, what do you mean? Why wouldn't you? Isn't this what you would want, right? Or when the black women are approached by white men, and white men are surprised that but you're a black. What, you don't? I'm the apex of existence. How could you not? And you're the marginalized one. I'm doing you a favor by being attracted to you. So there's that mindset when it comes to power dynamics. So for me, it's just taught me living in this world has honestly not even taught me to feel. I don't feel lesser than anybody. I love myself. I love the body that I'm born in, and I love the way that I present myself. I think I have a lot of attractive qualities, and it's over the years I've just had to know my worth, and not just sometimes you accept sexual gratification or relationships because you think, oh, what if I never get anything like this again? Well, what if I don't meet another person that's attracted to me? And so you just kind of take what you can get without really seeing if it's what you want. So that's what this has taught me. It's just that I don't have to take everything.
So would that also loop into this song? Was that person, I don't know if the person knows that this song is about them, but was that something you encountered with that relationship, or was this actually a good relationship in some ways? So
the thing is, the song is based on a relationship that I was in, but it is not 100% about that specific person. So it's the verses are kind of about a relationship that I was in, and the choruses are about others that I was in, and I'm kind of piecing those together. The song is about different fragments of different relationships that I've been in. In my own mind, I feel like I'm catching up, and I feel like I've had to change, because
at a certain point, I realized that my own privilege has made me blind to so many things. And, there's also that, like, how do you not somehow feel like if you're changing your own viewpoint, like, not to feel kind of, oh, I'm heroic, or I'm trying to figure these things out, and I'm so woke, which I kind of hate that term, because I feel like that's, if you want to label yourself as woke, you don't fit that definition. So I guess that kind of does loop in with so the days when we fight, we usually and then said I'm arrogant and pompous, and so was that something where that might have been, was that like a specific argument that happened, or just
No, I mean, I was in a relationship where we fought, and it wasn't like often, but when it happened, it was always very intense. I've been told in love that I can sometimes repress my feelings a lot, and in the name of responsibility, and not sometimes I don't emote enough, and that sometimes can cause like issues in relationships that I've been in, and so it's just that kind of cycle of like, like when you break up with someone, but you don't really break up with them, and you're still like hooking up with them, and you kind of go back and forth, and you're arguing, and then you have sex, and you cry, and then you argue, and then you don't talk for a week, and then you do it again, and then you da-da-da-da. So that verse is about that cycle of like, you're gonna keep complaining about me, but we're gonna keep doing this, and then it's your fault, but it's my fault. But then at the end of the day, I still kind of really love you, and I want to be with you, and I don't understand why I can't let go of you. But this cycle is not healthy for either of us.
Yeah. I guess I'll go into the part where I'm so in love, I'm so enamored by all that you are. You be my Jupiter, Saturn, and stars you are. And I was curious, since you had mentioned before, like the stars say my Venus ain't combating with yours. Is there a particular meaning astrologically with Jupiter and Saturn?
Jupiter and Saturn are generational planets, and they stay in your generation for, I think, 7 to 10 years. I forgot which one is which one. So it's like saying that you are my Jupiter, you're my Jupiter placement. I feel like I want to be with you for a long time, and I don't see this, even though this relationship is kind of chaotic, I don't really want it to end.
No more blues, higher hues. This is Indigo. What was the reason that this was named Indigo?
So there was a other single that went with the song Indigo called 747, and it was like just like a two-sided single based around this mini universe called Hotel Indigo. Hotel Indigo is supposed to be the place that you go to confront your problems, and it's like an escape to stop escaping. It's the place that you go to confront your problems. It's the place that kind of reveals all the good, bad, and ugly about you, and it's the place that you can finally find peace and serenity. It's almost like rehabilitation. Hotel Indigo is like rehabilitation. So going to Indigo is like, let's like, okay, we've acknowledged all these problems, but we're here right now. Let's go to Hotel Indigo. Let's figure it out. Let's, confront.
So is Hotel Indigo your own conception, or is that a thing, or is that like something that you came up with as a concept?
I came up with it as a concept. Since I've been making music, I've always created universes around my songs and projects. So.
Oh, wow. Is there a reason that you call it Hotel Indigo, or did I miss something? Or?
No. Okay. There's no metaphorical reason why it's called Hotel Indigo. It just is. It's just. I remember when I heard the beat, sometimes also color comes into my head when I think of the songs that I make. And so when I was listening to the beat for Indigo and writing it, a dark blue was what was in my head. Like that's what I thought of. So I was like, this song should be called Indigo. Yeah.
And the Alpha Zulu Echo Delta, is that
just like because the whole 747 Indigo duo single is based on like the the commercial plane, the 747 Boeing. So like when pilots are like phonetically like calling out letters, and they'll be like Alpha, Beta, Delta, Hotel, Indigo, Umbrella, whatever. So I was just like vocalizing and just using those just to end on Hotel Indigo, because you would use Hotel and Indigo for H and I if you were phonetically sounding out.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
They do that in the military too. So
Excellent. Well, you covered the "Want to Ride My 7-4," which is the 747.
Yeah.
Was there a distance maybe at that time that you're like you want to? I'm thinking in terms of like plane travel when you say 747, but you actually mean like I'm assuming, but just that they're joining you on the plane flight, or
yeah, they're joining me on the plane flight to go to Hotel Indigo, where we can fix our problems, where we can like come with me. We've owned up to all of this, so let's go. Like, do you really want to fix this? Do you really want to like be with me? And let's go to Hotel Indigo on my 747 and let's figure it out.
I don't know if you wanted to talk about your most recent release as well, just like see if there's do you have a favorite song on that album?
Okay. It's called Here For Now, and it came out March 1st. And my favorite song from there right now is Dear Diary. Yeah, it's the song is basically, as the title goes, it's basically like a diary entry. If anything, we should have done that song today, but I was just thinking of like all my songs, and it's a diary entry of just me talking about my insecurities, my the things that I'm afraid of. It's a very confessional track, so I like that one a lot.
What does music mean to you?
For me, music is a way for me to express myself in a way that I have always felt like I haven't been able to. I grew up always feeling like the weird kid that no one ever understood. And so when I make music as a means to explain myself and as a means to understand myself. And as it's been for the last couple years, I'm making music to understand myself, but in turn I'm giving a voice to other people that feel exactly the same way as I do. So my music is a way to explain myself. It's a way for me to just express all the things that I feel, whether I'm happy or I'm sad or I'm feeling like the shit or I feel like shit, or it's like it's everything that I am, just audibly. And it's also like a point of like education. It's a way to blend genres and to blend cultures and to blend experiences. And I make my music with the sole purpose now of like, I want people to be able to listen to my songs and be able to, like, if you listen to a 12-track album from me, I want anybody in the world to at least hear one song or at least one line or one section of a song that reminds them of them, or it's a part that they can connect to, or it's a part that they're like, yeah, me too, or it's a part that like, yeah, I love this bit, like I'm gonna keep playing this song because I want to hear that part. I want to be a reflection of the world that I live in, but through my own lens.
How did you get into music? What drew you into music initially and then, kept you going?
I mean, I've always been in music. I started off like in the church. Like I used to sing in like kids choirs, like kids Christian choirs. I played the recorder and I did the saxophone for a year. I was like in theater and things like that just growing up. Like I've always wanted to do music things. I never knew if I wanted to do it as like a career, but especially in like primary school, like between the ages of 5 and 13, I was just like, I want to know how to play saxophone. I want to know how to sing. I want to just do stuff. And when I was 13, that's when I decided I wanted to rap. I was like, okay, I'm going to start writing raps. I'm going to do it. And I've just been doing it and building it and growing it since then. Like I have YouTube covers from 7 years ago still up. Like I've been trying to. I have an old SoundCloud with covers and everything. Like for the last 8 years, I've just been trying to make this my career, making it my career.
What finally said, I should make a career out of this?
So between the ages of 13 and 17, I lived in North Carolina, a very small town. So I never felt like there were any opportunities for me. You know, you'd see like other like younger people that would like get famous or do things like, in my time it was like One Direction, Justin Bieber, Cher Lloyd, etc., etc. And I'd be like, how do I even get there? How do I even get people to hear me like that? I don't know how that works. I was just like making music online and hoping for the best and just, you know. But then when I got to like before starting college, that was my idea. I was inspired by like Mike Posner and Mac Miller, who got popular on their college campuses. Like they all went to college and then I think either finished or didn't, but they like built fan bases on their college campuses. So I was like, oh, okay, like I'm gonna go to college, I'm gonna go out to Illinois and go to school there, and I'm just going to do everything I can to get everybody to listen to me, like at the time that I'm there. And I was like, okay, I'll just work on getting a degree for 4 years, and I'll just build a fan base on a college campus for 4 years, and then I'll graduate, and then I'll have my backup plan, and I can do music. That was like the initial, you know. But when I got to school, like I didn't have like a plan or like I'm gonna go do. I just came here at 17 with the mission, like, okay, while I'm here, I'm going to try and utilize everything I can to make this a career.
Champaign is also a band. Podcast is proud to support Exile on Main Street. Exile on Main Street, located in the old train station building at 100 North Chestnut Street in downtown Champaign, has been helping to build record collections since 2004. Carrying a wide array of new and used LPs, CDs, and video games. Exile on Main Street has something for just about any music enthusiast and old-school gaming devotee. Exile also hosts regular free live music shows on its stage, so be sure to check out their Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter pages for the up-to-date details on the next upcoming event. Open 7 days a week, they can be reached by phone at 217-398-MAIN. That's 217-398-6246.
What do you like about the Champaign-Urbana scene? And then, you know, you can feel free to like jump in with what you don't like about the Champaign-Urbana scene. So, yeah.
I think that the Champaign-Urbana scene is like one big supportive open mic. In the sense that I feel like it's very easy to get on a show or get on a microphone with at least one other person in the room somewhere in town, especially if you like have a proximity to campus. Like getting in a space to perform, at least when I first got here, it wasn't too difficult. Like there was like an open mic at the Union, and there was like something going on at Canopy, and I lived in Allen Hall, so there was an open mic every month, and like then you got the basement shows, and like and everyone's like within reach. Like no one is too uppity to like have you send them a Facebook message and say, hey, like are you doing any shows? Like can I maybe do a 15-minute thing? Or you know, like it's not hard to get people to give you a chance to get on a stage. And that's something I like, because I've talked to people who live in other cities or other college campuses, and they're like, yeah, there's like no music scene, there's no art scene here. It's not. And I was like, oh, why don't you just try and find an open mic? They're like, oh, there's hardly anything going on out here. So I'm like very grateful that Champaign has so many, like even the Red Herring, like just so many small pockets where you could just do your little song and go.
Yeah,
that's my favorite thing about this place.
Okay, and I guess on the other side of that coin is like, what don't you like about the Champaign-Urbana scene, or what could they do to be better?
I think, I mean, and I don't know whose fault that is, but I do wish we had more venues. I feel like the only thing we have right now is the Canopy Club. And then 51 in Maine, there's like whole issues with that. So a lot of people aren't too like excited to, you know, book there and do things like that. So it would be nice if we had more small venues like Canopy. I think something else is like, there's a, especially among like the artist community, I would say that I sense a lot of complacency among a lot of artists. I think that because it is so easy and welcoming to perform out here, and you can like get like a little bit of a fan base and people can like, you know, fuck with you, it's like people sort of plateau and sort of peak. out here. And sometimes it can get to a point where it seems like musicians are playing the same venues over and over again and sort of staying. And I get that it's hard, like being a traveling musician or trying to branch out, but sometimes like when I look at other musicians around me that I've maybe been playing the scene with for like years, and like I'm like trying to like go out, I'm itching. I'm not like, I can't just stay here. Like there's some people that are just comfortable being here, and like if that's okay, if that's what you want to do, that's okay. But I do know some musicians that have like dreams of like grandeur, but they've been playing here for years and years and years and aren't going anywhere else, and that bugs me. And you don't want to say that because you don't want to sound like a hater, so you just kind of chill. You're like, okay, like do what you want, but it's concerning. So that's the only thing I would say. You
mentioned earlier before pre-interview that now you're looking for bigger and better things, and so Chicago is the next likely step. What's the next big step moving to Chicago, and what are your goals there?
I believe that as an artist, establishing yourself in a scene is important. And I think that the further up you want to go, the more you need to establish yourself in other scenes. So for me right now, like my short term, like big goals is just to establish myself in Chicago as a member of the scene, as somebody that performs and is known for performing, someone that can bring like people out, The next steps are, trying to like get some good representation as far as PR and like booking agents and all those other like the whole like trifecta and like circle that surrounds an artist, and what makes like the biggest artist pop is like having management, having a booking agent, having a publicist, having this, having that. So those are the things that I'm working towards by like playing more shows as I'm doing and building a fan base more, and like raising online credibility and all of that. Like that will be in the near future. So
you've gone on tour around and performed at different venues. Is there a particular show that you did that you're just like, that's exactly what I want? This is what okay, so what was the best show that you've ever done? That's
a hard question. I think that there have been a lot of really great shows, and there's like sometimes it's not even like at like major venues. About 2 years ago, there was a show I did. There was a basement show I did here in Champaign. I can't remember. I think it was sometime in February, about 2 years ago. And I remember I was singing, and it was my song Spaghetti. I think the PA blew or the aux like cut, something like that happened. And but we just kept it going, and everybody in that basement, I don't know how many people there were, maybe about like 50-ish. And I remember everyone was singing the song with me. Like everybody knew the chorus, and I was like, okay, we're just gonna keep it going. Like, and then I was like, you say you gotta, and then everyone just kept going and kept going and kept going. They knew all the words, they knew the verses, they knew the whole thing, and that was 2 years ago. And that was like, that's that ammo that you need, where you're like, I make songs that people remember and that people come to the show to sing with me. That means that I need to be doing this actually. So that's a show I'll never forget. At the first time I headlined a show was at Canopy in the front room. I think we sold about like 140 tickets for the front room, something around that number. And it was so cool that everyone bought tickets to see me. Again, that was like more like ammo. Like, okay, people, it's not just the people showing up for the headliner. No, you are the headliner, and like you had 100 people show up for you, so you can do this again. And like, again, people were singing along to the songs, and when they hear the first chord, they know what song it is, and they're like yelling because they're excited, and they're like, oh, this is my song. And like, going out of state, I played in Iowa City. I opened for Cakes the Killer at Mission Creek Festival last April. That was a really great set. Also, I had it was like DJ, drum, bass, guitar, I think was the setup. So a lot of moving pieces. And I remember after the show, I saw a girl in the front that was really like having a good time. So I just went up to her afterwards and I was like, hey, looked like you really enjoyed my set. Thank you for like staying. And and she was like, oh no, well, I mean, I got tickets to see you and Cakes the Killer. Like I've been listening to your music for months. Like I already, and that was wild because I came out to Iowa City. I didn't expect anyone to know me. I expected to like have to win over another crowd. And she was like, oh no, I bought tickets to come see you. Like I've been listening to you. Like you came up on my Spotify radio, and I was excited when I saw you were in town, so I came to see you. And that was like So it's beyond just Champaign. It's beyond Illinois. Like, you know, like college kids in Iowa City know who I am. Like, okay, like the shows that always mean the most to me, sometimes it's not if the crowd is the most hype or not. Sometimes it's like when people are touched by it, when you see people moving, when you see people singing along, when you see people looking it up on their phones as you're singing it, when it's when they ask to take a picture with you afterwards because they believe in you already. Those are my favorite shows.
Have you had some shows where you feel like you had to kind of win the crowd over and like, and like how did that happen?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's every show right now for me because I'm playing in Chicago more often these days. And so Chicago's a big city, so obviously, you know, I get my friends to come out and there are repeat people, but like it's usually me opening for like a major label artist. So they're all there to come see XYZ, not CJ Run. So you have 30 minutes to warm them up. You got 30 minutes to give them a reason to give a shit about you. So I think, I play every show like I'm trying to win a crowd over. I haven't played a show yet where I've been like, oh yeah, you know, they're here for me. Yeah, I can take it easy. Not like take it easy, but you know, like I don't have anything to prove tonight because they are here for CJ Run. No one's here to see me yet. It's not everyone is there to see me yet. Right. So I'm still on that something to prove grind right now.
Do you find that effort tiring, or do you find that energizing, or like I'm sure that to feel like you're actually winning people over probably is very energizing, but do you find something within like that effort to try to get to win people over? Is that something that you just kind of crave in a way, or I don't know. I don't know if I'm asking the right question.
No,
but it
I
just
know what
seems
you
like,
mean. Yeah,
you know, that would be.
It's definitely tasking because every show is different. Every crowd is different. Also, you have to have some pretty solid self-esteem and belief in your work to be okay with having to perform for strangers every night and hope that they are going to like what they hear. I have a very strong support system and I have a very strong belief in my music, and I know that I'm talented. I know my music is good. And so, like, I know that, you know, even if people aren't going to be yelling and screaming and dancing along, I know people are going to walk away from the show like, what was that? Or, no, that was good. Or maybe they didn't dance, maybe they didn't move much, but they're going to look it up later. You know, they're going to tell their friend that they saw it, you know, like, so I don't take everything at face value, but I know that every time that I get on stage, I know that people aren't going to forget that they saw me perform. And that is something that I have to hold on to. There's obviously your good and bad days, you know. I've played sold out shows for headliners, and I've played shows where maybe it was only like 20 people in the room. But 20 people or 200 people, like, they're going to remember CJ Run, and I know that they will. And I just go in with every show with that belief. Like, okay, no one knows who I am. All right, I'm going to make them know. After these 30 minutes are up, they're going to know. And, you know, that's just the game.
Wow.
And it's also a very humbling experience because I'm never going to really get too comfortable. So, and I feel like by the time I start headlining shows and packing stadiums and rooms and arenas and whatever, I'm going to remember the days where I had to drive from Champaign to Chicago with my friends in their Toyota and play 30 minutes for a couple $100 and try and make fans. And I'm going to, and it's like, I feel like it's character building. It's like, okay, I got to pay my dues right now because so that when I get to that point, I can look back and be like, yeah, that's why I did that, you know? And it teaches you to never be too cocky, never to, you know, like, I'm like, my music's good, people are going to remember me, but it teaches you to, like, you know, the humility of, like, your career is literally dependent on whether or not people connect with your music. And that's the first and foremost thing.
Are there any, like, Champaign-Urbana artists that you admire or really appreciate listening to their music as well?
Yeah, well, he's not here anymore, but Allan Xu, Your Beautiful Ruin was the best producer based in Champaign, I would say, undoubtedly. He is a multi-genre producer. If you send him any song and say, oh, I want something made in this sort of style, he can do it. If you listen to any of my songs produced by Your Beautiful Ruin, they all sound different because I'm different. And I was like, look, I want songs to sound like this, like that. Like, he's very adaptable. He's produced for Chase Baby, like, did a whole project for him, and that sounds completely different to the one he made for me. So Allan Xu was a top Champaign artist in my eyes. Along with him, I really do like the Data Waves just as a band. They make drunk funk. They're so talented. They all mesh and play off of each other really well. And I would hope to be as good as an improvisational musician as they are, because they're really great.
Champaign is also a band podcast is proud to support Jubilee Cafe. Jubilee Cafe is a free weekly meal program at Community United Church of Christ, 805 South 6th Street in Champaign, Illinois. Jubilee Cafe serves a home-cooked meal from 5 to 6:30 each Monday. Their mission is to feed hungry people by cooking healthy, delicious meals and by serving their guests restaurant-style with servers waiting on tables. Jubilee Cafe is open to anyone who cares to eat with them. Because food insecurity among students is so high, they serve students as well as others in and around the Champaign-Urbana community who struggle with hunger. Meals are free to all and will be served each Monday evening, located in the accessible lower level of the building at 6th and Daniel Streets in Champaign. For more information on the meal or how to volunteer, go to the Jubilee Cafe CUCC Facebook page or email them at jubilee.cafe@community-ucc.org. That's jubilee.cafe@community-ucc.org.
Do you want to talk about your favorite non-musical thing?
Well, I feel like this is low-key kind of cheating, but my favorite non-musical thing is Bollywood movies. But Bollywood movies are also like 70% music, so it's like, ooh. But no, mainly the movies. I've been a fan of Bollywood movies since I was a young child. I've seen a lot of different releases from different eras. I was like learning Hindi at one point in my life, and I kind of stopped. I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of like the music, the colors, the movies are always like 3+ hours long, so the plots are a lot more like unpredictable and a little bit more like dramatic, just because there's like more time for shit to happen. So I really do love Bollywood a lot. Also, I'm a huge fan of, I like to cook. I feel like a lot of musicians like to cook or have like fixations around food. I like to cook everywhere that I've grown up, and like being Nigerian as well, my mom never let me like not be in the kitchen when she was making food, so I had to learn how to cook from a very young age.
Is there a favorite dish that you like to make?
Yeah, I make really good like fried chicken. Like I have like a recipe. Like it's like, yeah, I'm not sharing the secrets.
Oh.
But I have a real good fried chicken recipe. So like usually that's my comfort food. That's my, like, if I want to flex and my friends want to eat something, I'll just make really good wings. Like that's, yeah, like I'm about that.
Since this is a podcast, nobody can tell, but you have like the biggest smile on your face like right now.
I'm like, I make good wings. I'm like, I don't have wings at home. I need to go get some chicken. Yeah, like.
I guess going back to the Bollywood, I feel like the fact that you eat, that's one of your favorite things, and although it's musical, but it's also, as you said, they're 3 hours long and they're dense, and they have like, it's like they throw everything at it. Which I kind of feel fits with your personality and like your own work ethic and the way that you put together music. It's like, I'm sorry, this is just going to be everything. It's going to be
there's going to be singing, there's going to be dancing, there's going to be, there's going to be a secret twin that you didn't know about, and there's going to be 2 weddings in the movie, and, you're going to cry, there's going to be a fight scene, and you'll jump on the train at the end. Like, it's... Unless I feel like I just described, like, 6 different Bollywood movies, but, I would agree. I like media that is rich. Like, I like when, I mean, everything doesn't have to be conscious and complex. Like, that's not, you know, I listen to music that is more bare bones. I like movies that are a bit more simplistic too, but I do like the richness of being able to like fit a lot of things into something and make you feel a lot of different things while not being overwhelming. I think that we live in a world where I think that we're all like, everything's about the quickness and the convenience of everything. People's attention spans are really short, and we don't really get to like engross ourselves in like a lot, and like in pools of like a lot. And so I'm trying to bring back that richness to music, that the layers, the go on the Rap Genius and read the lyrics really and actually hear what I'm saying, you know, like I enjoy that. I enjoy that. It's also funny when you spend your whole life like being a creative, you sometimes like people ask you what's your hobbies. I'm like, listening to music, finding music, dreaming about music. But no, I'm into cooking. I'm into movies. I'm into language is also my favorite thing, which does tie to music. But it's like I speak German, and I'm also like elementary in Dutch. And growing up in Europe, it's just culturally you just learn other languages. It's just part of our curriculum and part of our lives. Like 2 hours over is another country that speaks a whole other language, so that's just life. So like I still have dreams of being a polyglot and like knowing a lot of different languages, but I gotta step aside from the music or find a way to do both. But yeah, I love language a lot. I love learning little bits of different ones. I'm very like into fashion, especially like when it comes to like gender identity and stuff, like finding my own interpretation of masculinity and like how I want to look is something that's really important to me. And it's something I really enjoy. Like I love helping my friends like find their styles and like going shopping with them and helping them pick out clothes. And I'd love to model at some point and, you know, be on runways and things like that. Like, so those are all part of my interests.
Maybe it would have been easier if I just said, okay, what don't you do? You know?
But yeah, that's me.
This has been a great interview. I've really enjoyed, like, so do you find that having experience and knowing in your mind a second language, do you feel that is influential in terms of the way that you look at words and even the conjugation, or even just maybe even the sense of reorganizing the sentence structure, you know, like that you look at it more from maybe the German language perspective, which, you know, talk about German, you know, it's like, oh, if they don't have a word, they just take a bunch of words and just squish them together. So do you feel like that kind of influences the way that you look at even just in the English language that you're putting out on your records and your EPs, that kind of thing?
I think that that's something that's like common knowledge between like people who are bilingual, is that the way that we form sentences is different because we learn two different sets of rules. But also I've learned how to speak English in 3 different ways. So I speak American English, but I also speak British English. And then also my family is Nigerian, so I know Pidgin English, which is the colloquial Creole of Nigeria, of how like Nigerians speak English. So growing up, like my mom speaks like a mixture of like American English. Well, like, she kind of speaks like a mixture of like the different, because of diaspora, the kind of the different combinations of ways of speaking English. And that's what I was raised to speak. And so the way that I speak English, it's not even really inspired by like German. Like it's more to do with the fact that I grew up in different English speaking countries. So the way that I speak English is different to like how British people who are just British speak, and people who are just Nigerian speak, and people who are just American. So if you look at my sentence structures and some of the words that I use, it's like, I know that's a word, but I've not heard that word used in that context or in that sentence or in that way.
That's interesting. There was a few things where I'm like, I wonder if that's a British thing, or you know,
right. You're like, it makes sense, but I haven't heard those words in that order, and so it's. Yeah, like earlier on, I
was embarrassed to not know what a VAT was, and I had Googled it, and then I was like, wait, that just means value-added tax? What? But yeah, anyway, is there anything else you'd like to add or just talk about some of your future projects, or are you good?
Well, let's see. I have just quick announcements. So here for now, the EP is out on all streaming platforms: SoundCloud, Spotify, Tidal, etc., etc. I'm CJ Run on Twitter. That's It's CJ Run. I'm CJ Run on Instagram. CJ.Run. CJ Run on Facebook. I'm also on LinkedIn now. I'm trying to figure out how to be on LinkedIn as a musician.
Nobody knows LinkedIn.
No,
I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. Because I'm just I have a cool headshot. I want to say thank you to Champaign and the University of Illinois as a scene and as a place. I know that just from talking in this interview, I'm definitely ready to leave and ready to go and build, but I couldn't really go if I wasn't here in the first place. Everything that I have so far, I owe to the support that I've gotten from local venues and musicians, and just having this campus be my musicians playground to be able to get people to listen and tune in. So I even when I leave, even though sometimes I get tired of living here, I wouldn't be the musician I am if I didn't come here. So just shout out to Champaign.
CJ, thank you so much for being on the podcast, and it's just been a pleasure talking about your song Indigo and about the scene and Bollywood movies and cooking. And it's all right. I'll get your recipe after. No, I know we won't. No, I know.
I'm still perfecting it anyway. So once I have it down, because I tried different versions of it. So once I have the one that I want to be the CJ recipe, we might start sharing it. So.
All right, that sounds good. But thank you so much. And I know it wasn't easy to coordinate to get together. So it's just been amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to Champaign is Also a Band podcast. This is CJ Run reminding you, great music is out there. Go find it where you live.
Wait, do I have to... What is going on?
Recorded it, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, your phone might not be unlocked. It might be locked. That might be the reason you're not able to do stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Now it's online. But thank you. You almost have an NPR voice. It's so good.
Studio South Beaker on the inside.